everybody, Michael here. Today's video, I want to discuss how I'm fed up with the division in the United Kingdom and also the fact that people are being distracted from the true solution, which I believe I have found, which is the true Father and his Spirit, which you can also refer to as Christ. So let's get into it. So I haven't posted for a week or so because, to be honest, I've taken a week off social media. I was a bit fed up with all the division and having to argue with so many different people. And it's especially frustrating when I believe I have the answer. And it's not because of me, it's because of our spiritual Father. And our answer, the answer to our problems, is to return to our loving spiritual Father and his Spirit. And God and his Spirit transcends all of the problems or all the identities and ideologies of this world. And once we transcend all our egotistical beliefs and ideologies, then we can be united and find the answer. And that's essentially why I set up Guardians of the United Kingdom. I want Guardians of the United Kingdom to be a place where the wisest people in the country, the people who truly know God, set the agenda for the country, and that the people of the country should listen to the Guardians of the United Kingdom. Because we are connected to the true Father, and that is where the answers are. As long as we listen to the Guardians of the United Kingdom, I believe that is our greatest hope. And there can be no division when we listen to the Guardians and the wise people of God. And I was just fed up of all the division, whether it be left v right, but even within the so-called good ones. So obviously most people believe in conservative values against rather this liberal values. But even within the right, everybody's divided because you've got a million different parties. You've got the Tory party, you've got Reform, you've got Heritage, you've got Homeland, you've got Britain First, you've got the SDP. So there's millions of different parties and everybody's divided. And even then you go to the nationalist part because everybody's fed up with the amount of immigration. So they're turning to nationalist parties. But then even the nationalist parties are all divided because there's the debate about civic nationalism v ethno-nationalism. But then you'll even get ethno-nationalism who believe in ethno-nationalism, but sensible migration. But then you get the hardcore morons who are like, no, everybody's got to be deported. And then everybody's arguing and it's over minute details. And that's why we just need a sensible, wise people to come up with a sensible plan, such as my plan, which is we don't want open borders. We want the country to be 90% native, is a rough figure, and we allow a small amount of migration of good people who are welcome in the country, who assimilate, and that we love them, we have no hatred for anyone. That's a sensible solution that most people will get behind. So there's no need to argue. And there's no need to be a Puritan. You know, don't be as deluded as the open border people by claiming that we need to close our borders. And then we've also got the spiritual side. You know, I say that the answer, the solution is a spiritual revolution and to return to God through the Spirit, and that transcending worldly identities, whether you're a Muslim or Christian or you're a Jew or whatever, they're just worldly identities, but our spiritual nature cannot have an ego identity. Just as God isn't a Jew, a Christian, a Muslim. God is a spirit. We are made in God's image, so we are a spirit. We have no ego identity, and we can be united through the Spirit. But the problem is we're divided by ego concepts, even within religion itself. So what ended up happening is when I previously had it, the Christ of England, and I talked about Christ being spirit and not to follow Christianity. Christianity is a worldly concept. Even then the Christians come on and start arguing with me. And then even within Christianity, the denominations start arguing with each other. You know, the Protestants v the Catholics, and then they're v the Orthodox. And then you've got the Mormons and the Presbyterians, and everybody's got their own made up religion in a way. Even though they accuse me of making up my own religion, Christianity and all the denominations are all equally as made up. But spiritual truth is not an egotistical concept. We're all made in the image of God, which is spirit. And as long as we just live by that, we're all brothers and sisters in the spirit. That's where the magic can be found, and that we can unite in the spirit to defeat our enemies of Islam, of globalism, and of ideology, false concepts. Because one thing you notice is that the Muslims and the leftists, they're all united. All the Palestinian protests, even though they completely disagree, they're 100% opposite So, Islam and the LGBTQ, they're completely opposite, but they're completely united in their mission. And I think us, as the good people, we mostly agree on most concepts. We just want sensible policy. We want sensible border control. We want crime and law and order sorted out. We want a sensible financial system. So we can mostly agree, but we're disunited. So we just need to come together. The guardians of the United Kingdom, I'll get the wisest people, and people are just going to have to listen to them and take what they say and support them. And the theory has to be, look, we're screwed. Our country is screwed. We don't have time to argue. Let's just say, look, these guys are the wisest, smartest people in the country. We're just going to have to get behind them. And this is something I actually saw recently that sparked the light bulb in my head, is that I saw a nationalist commentator discussing all the different factions of nationalism. And he said what he thinks is going to happen is that there's not going to be any unity and all these parties aren't going to come together. What's going to happen is one party will rise up and will gain all the support. And that's what I believe we need in the country, is that from a social media and a cultural and spiritual perspective, people are going to need to come together and support the guardians of the United Kingdom. Or if there's a movement that I find that I believe is perfect, then I'll shut down the guardians of the United Kingdom and I'll go and support them and encourage everybody to go and support them. But ultimately, one righteous group needs to rise up, and that we need to set a policy. That's what I'll do in Guardians of the United Kingdom. Set a policy that, look, ultimately, we're all spiritual brothers and sisters, and this is what we want. We want, as I said, family values, conservative values, sensible migration, sensible financial policies, all the things that we all agree on. That's what we're going to fight for. And that if we have differences, we'll put them below the fact that we're united in the spirit. What's happening now is we're putting our ego beliefs and arguing above the fact that we're brothers and sisters, because we don't know we're brothers and sisters because we're blinded by our ideology. But once I awaken the spirit in people and bring us together, then we can win the battle. Because it was another thing I was thinking of, is that most of us agree on most of the problems and we need to put our differences aside. In terms of, for example, one of my best friends and even my sister, they're completely brainwashed leftists. They go along with all the things, all the COVID nonsense. Oh, they're sort of open borders. But the fact is, we put our friendship before that. If I'm honest, because I know he's a hardcore leftist and he knows I'm anti all that, we don't really even discuss politics. We're like, well, our friendship is more important. And ultimately, because I've known my mate my whole life, I'm almost 40, I've known him since I was 6 years old. I know that he's a great guy. When I die and go home, and if God says to me, who are the top 5 people you met in your life, he would be one of them without a shadow of a doubt. And I believe he knows the same about me. He knows I'm not evil. I'm not some racist, crazy lunatic. And we know we're decent people. So we're kind of like, there's like, why are we divided by stupid politics? Especially when we agree on most of the things. When I talk politics to him, I won't frame it in an argumentative way. I'll frame it in a way of, look, we agree that, we just want a better society. It's just that, evil people are trying to divide us. And I think if we can get the message out that we need to be united in the spirit and as brothers and sisters of the spirit, and even as national brothers and sisters and friendly brothers and sisters of a nation, and even as a humanity collective, if we can focus on that first and foremost and not be divided by all the nonsense. That's what Jesus said. A kingdom divided will not stand. And he's talking about worldly concepts. But in the spirit, in his spirit, in the spirit of the Father, we can be united. And in that spirit, we will destroy our enemies. But people are not coming to the spirit. They're still stuck in their worldly concept. I'm an ethno-nationalist. I'm a civic nationalist. Well, I'm an Orthodox Christian. I'm a Catholic. I'm a Protestant. I'm a Muslim. All this crap that divides us and separates us from God and solutions. Okay? So I'm not going to whisper on too much. I think you pretty much get what I'm saying in this video. So if you want to support us, subscribe to this channel. And as this movement goes on, I'll try and get memberships and I will be appointing some further guardians in the future. At the moment, it's just me, but I want to get maybe a council of 5 or 6 proper good guardians and then 5 or 6 warriors to help us in our physical battles. Okay, so share the video as part of your support, like the video as part of the support, And God bless everybody today. Goodbye.